Everybody, Chef Sam here. Sorry about the late video. There's been a lot of things going on in school, so I have a lot of assignments. But this week I'm gonna be making donuts. So let's get into the video. Alright, so we're gonna put our warm milk into our bowl. We're also gonna add our sugar, which is 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, and then we're gonna add our yeast, 1 package will do the job. So that's all we need in the bowl for now. Just whisk it up to be mixed together, and then once you whisk it good, you're going to cover and allow it to sit for 5 minutes. And the mixture should be a little frothy, like it should look a little foamy on the top after 5 minutes. And if it doesn't look like that, start on a new yeast. You're gonna have to start this process again if it doesn't look like that. So this is how it should look after. Remember, if it does not look like that, start it again. So now we're gonna add our eggs, which are 2 eggs. We're gonna drop them in there. Sorry about the bad camera quality. I had to record and also show everything, so I'm sorry about that. But at least I'm able to describe what's happening. We're gonna put in our butter, our melted butter, 6 tablespoons. And then we're gonna add our organic vanilla. It doesn't have to be organic, but vanilla extract would do. 1 teaspoon of this will do. And then we're gonna add some salt. We're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I didn't show it, but you're gonna put 1/4 of teaspoon ground nutmeg or cinnamon, whichever you would like is fine. A substitute if you don't have nutmeg is cinnamon, but if you have nutmeg, you can use it. And then we're gonna add our 2 cups of flour. And then we're gonna add 2 more cups of flour when we're mixing. So remember to still leave your flour out because we're still gonna use it. So you're gonna mix this for 1 minute on a low speed with your handheld mixer or whatever you have. You can scrape down the edges. Don't be afraid if the flour gets stuck there because it will. And then once you do that, you can add in the 2 cups of flour. Once you scrape down the edges and it gets a little that it's been moved around a good amount, you can start adding the 2 cups of flour. Sorry about the camera quality again. If you haven't already added the 2 cups of flour, this would be about the time that you can do it as well. The reason we're adding 2 more cups of flour is because, as you noticed in the beginning, it was very liquidy, the batter, and it wasn't gonna change, so we have to add more flour to get that consistency of dough. As you can see, the dough's almost done. I'm just gonna scrape it off so that it could be mixed again. So if there's any leftover flour that needs to be added, it will be added to the dough. Okay, so we're done with that, and now we're gonna remove it and we're gonna add some flour onto our table. We're gonna put it down and we're just gonna knead the dough for about 2 minutes. I like to do it by hand because you can feel the difference in consistency and know when it's ready. Don't forget to add flour to your surface so that it's easy to knead and not that hard. Alright, now that it's done kneading, you can get a bowl and you could lightly oil it, or you could spray some non-stick oil. I would suggest using non-stick oil spray because it won't sink into the dough like oil does, especially if it's a stronger oil. So it's up to you, but I would use non-stick spray or maybe even butter, but yeah. Then once you got that, put some saran wrap or a towel or something over it so that it's able to rise for the next 2 hours, one and a half to 2 hours, however you would like, and it should be in a warmer place so that it's able to rise. But if not, if there's no warm places, that's fine. You could just leave it wherever. Alright, so it's been 2 hours. So we're just gonna heat up our oil before we get started with our donuts. While the oil is heating up, we're gonna make the glaze really quickly for the donuts. It's gonna be 2 cups of confectioners sugar, sifted, which means that you just put it through a sifter so that it takes out any of the clumps that it has or whatever it may have. Mine may look a little different than the 2 cups because I was just making a small batch rather than a larger batch for all the donuts, but please, if you would like to adjust these, feel free. Don't feel like you have to do the 2 cups. But remember, if you don't do 2 cups, remember to adjust the rest of the recipe so that it comes out good. I had to use milk, but if you have heavy cream or you could buy heavy cream, I suggest that because it makes it a little thicker and not super watery. And then we're gonna use vanilla extract again. That'll be 1/2 teaspoon pure vanilla extract, and again, sorry I didn't say, 1/3 cup of heavy cream or whole milk. But again, it's your preference. If you want it thicker, use heavy cream. If you don't want it thicker, you want it thinner, the glaze, use whole milk. And you're just gonna mix that around until everything is combined. Now that we're gonna get started with the dough, you want to punch down the dough. And then we're just gonna quickly knead the dough. Well, we're actually gonna shape the dough. So we're just gonna roll it out and start making the shapes of the donuts. So remember to lightly flour the surface of our workstation. So we want to roll out the dough until it's 1/2 inch thick. If you do not have a donut cutter, that's fine. You could just use a lid from one of your containers, a cup. You could just freestyle it. As you can see, I just used the lid of a container to make my donuts. And then I just freestyled for the little donut hole in the middle. And this way, it'll just be quick and easy and not take too much time. It should make about 12 donuts. You're gonna just reuse the scraps because obviously it's not done yet. Just because you can't cut out the donuts doesn't mean that the dough is done. So yeah. So that's how they should look about. And then you're just gonna place them on the side to let them sit for a while until you're done. And you're gonna want to preheat the oil to about 375. If you don't know, you could put it on high really quickly, and once it starts bubbling, once it's been a while, you could just take a little piece of the dough, drop it in, and see if it inflates. And if it does, then you're set to go. And then you might want to lower it a little because it might just not cook the donuts. So here I heated up the oil and then put it down to medium because it was not gonna cook the donuts. So I let them drop all the way to the bottom, and then once they rose, I knew that they were starting to cook. So you want to keep an eye on these because they don't take that much time. They take about 1 or 2 minutes. They take about 1 or 2 minutes on each side. 1 minute if you don't want them overcooked, but it might just take 1 or 2 minutes generally if you're not sure how much the oil is at. Like me, I don't know how much the oil is at, so I'm just gonna leave them in there for 1 or 2 minutes on each side to make sure that it's cooked thoroughly. Then you're just gonna flip it. See that nice golden brown? Just gonna flip it so that the other side as well gets like that. Alright, so we see the donut is done. We're going to remove it from the oil and place it on, I had a cutting board, but of course if you have a rack, a cooking rack, or someplace with just to let them sit while they're drying from the oil, that would be great. So if you want to glaze your donuts, you're gonna glaze them right when they get out of the oil. Of course you could let it sit there for a couple 2 seconds, but right after that, throw them in the glaze and then they'll be ready and set to go. Because if you wait longer, the glaze won't stick onto the donut because it's gotten cold. So please make sure that you do it when they're still hot. So yeah, that's how you do donuts. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you guys sticking around and waiting for my video, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed.